Thank you for introducing yourself to me. I'm going to try not to be like the boss in this cartoon. Sorry, I can't remember your name. Do you mind if I just call you Stupid? It will probably take me a little while to learn everybody's name. We do have a lot of students in our program. And I teach a significant number of classes. Actually, I'm down quite a bit. This semester, I'm only teaching 7 classes, but it's still a lot. So I apologize, and I know that there's 40 people in this room, but at the same time, it might take me a little while to learn you. Thanks for learning your names. Thanks for being patient with me. Now, we already did that. We're not going to do that again. All right. Roman numeral 0 was kind of our overview here. We looked at the grand ideas. In Roman numeral 1, I want to take a look at the concept of a computer system. And one of the things I want to point out is a computer system is a combination of 3 different things. All right? Before we look at the components of a computer system, I just want to emphasize this idea of problem solving. Information technology is all about solving problems. And the other thing I mentioned too is oftentimes we don't get to pick the problem. We're solving problems for other people. You know, in some disciplines, if you were a mathematician, you'd probably be able to sit at your desk and think about all kinds of interesting things and how to solve the problems. You'd sort of get to pick the problems, maybe. But in IT, we don't solve our problems. We don't necessarily solve problems that interest us. We solve problems for other people. And that's hard. Why? Because not only is solving problems hard, but we're solving things that are outside of our discipline. Right?
Understand the problem.
Exactly. Understand the problem, which is the very first step, and we're going to reiterate that in a little bit. But the problem... Okay, yeah. Hold that thought. That's a great thought. Let me get to that. The abstract model of problem solving that I'm sure you've seen before. Brookshire talks about it. Other classes talk about it. One way that people say, here's how to solve problems. First of all, Faisal, you have to understand the problem. Exactly, right? First step in problem solving is to understand the problem. Once you understand the problem, then you have to plan. Plan how you're going to solve the problem. A plan of attack, if you will. Then you need to create the solution. And finally, you need to test that. Now, I always forget exactly. I can't remember if Brookshire talks about that just briefly in Chapter 0, but if not, it comes up in a future chapter that we'll take a look at here, problem-solving strategies. But this is a classic one. Faisal?
I think we need here drop the subwise or the tools. But where it's going to be creating...
Oh, okay. Yeah, great question. Specifically, where do I employ the tools that I'm going to use? And the answer is, could be in planning, likely in creating too, okay? Could be in various places, yeah. The problem with abstract things is they're real simple. And they don't give you a lot of depth of detail, do they? Yeah. So although everybody says this is the general way to solve problems, when it comes right down to any specific problem, we know that there's a lot more involved than just this. It's kind of an outline for where we're going. Yeah. Good comment. Oh, I did want to come back to, yeah. You know, when we talk about understanding the problem, for us in IT, we're not just talking about understanding technology. Let's say you needed to create an app. So you needed to understand a programming language. Let's say you're going to do Java or something similar. Well, part of understanding would have to be understanding Java. But that's not the only part. Because, see, you're going to create an app that's going to help the accounting department. Yeah. So you're going to understand the people and their problem. If you're going to create an accounting application, you have to understand finances, accounting principles, right? But IT, whoa, what's that have to do with IT? And the answer is nothing directly, but it has everything to do with this. When I say understand the problem, I'm not just talking about understanding technology. I expect you to do that, right? You understand the Windows operating system. But now we're talking about understand what we call the problem domain. The user's dealing with retail sales. I've got to understand some stuff about that. How do you do that? Talk to the customer. Exactly. Okay?
Understand the formula.
That's right. Yeah, it's just accounting, debits, credits, future value of money. You've got to understand all those formulas. Exactly. So this requires some extra work and investigation on your part, doesn't it? No IT professional is going to hear the user's problem and then suddenly run into a closet and start writing JavaScript. It's going to take some time to interact and figure out, ooh, okay, what do you mean by accounts receivable? And get it all set, right? Yeah. But again, this is why we typically work in a team, and maybe we have that IS person as part of the team, and the IS person would understand financial models and be able to help us with that.
So can I say the IS person is between the IT guy and the business?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like that interface between the boss and, us. So yeah, the that'd be good, right? They can get yelled at. Yeah, exactly. Good point. Let's focus on computers. Now, this is not the only technology we use in information technology, right? But it certainly is a big piece of the puzzle. I want to say some general things about computers. Computers as information technology. Now, we use a lot of specific devices, right? I mean, in my hand here, I'm holding a wireless presenter to move through my PowerPoint presentation, and this is technology, but it's certainly not a computer. But computers are a big part of IT. Rather than defining a computer for you, I just want to give you a description. This is the description that I'm going to use all the time. A computer is a tool for solving problems. Now, I like that description because it gives a computer a balanced perspective. A computer isn't something to either be feared or worshipped. A computer is a tool. Exactly. And it can be used well, it cannot be used well, etc. A computer by itself doesn't actually solve problems. Think about a tool. If you want to get from place A to place B, you could walk there, and that would take a while. Or you could use a bicycle, which would be a better tool, right? Or an automobile, which might be a better tool, or a bullet train or something, right? Yeah. So you get from A to B, you still have to do it, right? I mean, you have to pedal the bicycle or fuel the car. You have to use it, exactly. It doesn't do everything by itself. Same with a computer. Computers, just by themselves, don't solve problems. People have to employ them, have to use them. The user's going to give it data, it's going to give information back, they're going to make a decision, and so it goes. Okay? Computer's a tool for solving problems. I don't know why I have this here, but if I don't put it somewhere, I'll forget to do it. What I want to do is I want to show you our online presence. This is Angel. Now, for those of you watching at a distance, I'll turn on so you can see what I'm doing on the screen capture, but you don't need to do that. Because if you weren't already an Angel, you wouldn't be seeing this right now. Okay? For many of you, the way to access Angel is to go to the CUW portal, my.cuw.edu, my.cuw.edu. You went here in order to register for this class. Now, the login credentials here are supplied by our IT support department. They don't come from me. So typically your username is your CUW ID number, your F00 number. You notice that's not true for me. Okay. But yours is your F00 number. And then you were assigned initial password, and then you're forced to change it or something like that when you first logged in. If you've forgotten your password, I can't help you. But you'll notice that there is somewhere here, change your password, or what is it that you forgot your password? Isn't there something here? I guess not. You got to check with the IT help desk. Oh, okay, contact them. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, once you log in at my.cuw.edu, there are different tabs and different channels. And under the Student Services tab was the registration, and that's how you signed up for class. But you'll notice that on the buttons at the top here, there's one that says Angel. When you select Angel, it'll open up a new window. By the way, the purpose of a portal is to be a one-stop front end for many other resources. The idea of a portal is you log in one time, and then you get to a lot of other resources, but you don't have to log in there. Angel is actually a separate system from maintained by our IT support department. And you could go there directly and log in, but once you get into the portal, you don't have to. So this is the home page of Angel. Now, yours will look different than mine. But likely on the left side, under Courses, you should have the current semester opened. By the way, this is called 2014-30. That's just how the university... 2014 for academic year, 30 is spring. Don't worry about it, okay? And under here, now you will not... I told you I'm teaching a lot of classes. And as a matter of fact, there's a couple other ones I'm helping out in. So I have much more than 7 right here. I think I have 11 or 12. Somewhere on your list, you're going to find Foundations of Information Technology, CSE 505. Select that. And now you're on the CSE 505 Foundations of Information Technology page. I'm going to try to change it so it looks exactly like you see. Okay? Now, welcome, blah, blah, blah. Begin with the Lessons tab or click here. Most of what you'll need to explore will be found under the Lessons tab. So I'm going to click on Lessons. You'll see a couple things here. About CSE 505, that's basically the syllabus of the course. I'd like you to read through it. Course Capture talks about exactly what I'm doing here and where to find it if you want to review it later. Unit 1, that's this right now. Okay? And in 2 weeks, you'll see another one, Unit 2, and after that, Unit 3, and then Unit 4. So most of the academic material is found under the unit. So I'm going to select Unit 1, and I don't want you to panic. But what you're seeing here are basically the assignments. So I refer to everything by, this is day 1. The next time we meet, we'll do day 2. Okay? So these are the assignments that you have that are assigned in day 1. And when I scroll down a minute, you're going to see the assignments for day 2. Don't panic. They're not assigned yet. They're just visible there. Now, we'll look at each one of these in a minute, but I just wanted to point that out. There's a couple other tabs besides the Lessons tab that you'll want to check. One is Calendar. The Calendar tab will tell you when things are assigned and when they're due. So this is the first day, Thursday, the 30th of January. You can see there are 4. If you can't see it, I've got the resolution set funny. You hover your mouse on it, something will pop up. You can click on those things and go there. Now you're saying, well, when are they due? Well, they're due in February, so I'll have to next, and then you can see. Now don't panic. I've already assigned some things for next time. I mean, you can look ahead. And you'll notice that when I assign something, oftentimes it'll be due in a week, but sometimes it's not. You notice a couple things that are, remember there were 4 things assigned on the first day and only 2 due this next time? You've got a couple weeks to do things sometimes. So check this calendar. Question?
So when you going to do,
Yeah.
midnight?
Oh, okay, good question. When an assignment is due, yes, it's due midnight of that day. Now what you'll notice is I assign things on Thursday, they're due Wednesday by midnight. Okay? So this Thursday doesn't count, right? You've got 7 days, but not 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're due here Wednesday at midnight. Yep. Good question. Besides the Lessons and Calendar tab, the Resource tab has one thing on it that you may find useful. And, and that is Panopto. Panopto is a system that our IT support department uses to do course capture. You see that there are 2 completed recordings, Day 1, Part A, that was the first hour this evening, Day 1, Part B, and there's one going on right now. I'm actually recording something right as we speak, right? I think, as long as I remember to turn the microphone on. I did, good. Okay. Afterwards, if you selected one of those, then you would be able to review the coursecast. It's digital. You'll hear the audio. You'll see the PowerPoint presentation. You'll see anything on the screen. If I had the camera going on me, you'd see that. And you can jump through it. You know, it's not a linear thing. You can jump around, etc. I'm going to encourage you to look at least a portion of one of these. You want to make sure that your system can access it. You may need to install some helper apps in your browser, etc. It's fairly Microsoft-centric. You know, I believe it's based upon Silverlight. So if you got Internet Explorer, it probably works great. If not, I mean, it works with Firefox. I use that in Chrome all the time. But you might have to install a helper app. Do it now, because in the future, if you need it, if you say, oh, what did he say again about that? I forgot. And then you can't get at it. You know, it's Wednesday at 11 p.m. I gotta see that. Well, make sure it works for you now. So sometime this week, just make sure you can access one of these, see how it works, how you can start it, stop it, move through it, so you're ready in case you need to do that.
So can I watch it live?
I don't know if it, I don't think it lets you actually see the live set. It's not a live stream, okay? This Take Notes just allows you can type something down and then it keys it to that time. All right. You should be able to see Day 1, Part A and Day 1, Part B right now. Okay? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, let's go back and take a look at the assignments for this evening. There are 5 things that I'm assigning you. They're not all due next time, but several of them are. The first thing I'm assigning you is an initial quiz. This initial quiz is done after reading that About CSC 505. By the way, when I click on it, it's going to tell you, this is timed. Don't click Begin Now until you're ready to take it. Okay? It's simple. There's just a few questions. You have 10 minutes, but that's all. You can refer back. Now, what that initial quiz is based on is it's based upon this. This is the syllabus for the course. I told you a lot of this up front. There are 2 textbooks. We give you one. Here, the assignments, what I'm expecting of you, attendance policy, who your instructor is, how to submit assignments on Angel, what the grading guide is, a word about plagiarism, don't do it, how I'm expecting written work, all that kind of jazz. So read through this, and then after you've read it, take that quiz. You can refer back to this during the quiz, but if you haven't read it the first time, you're going to run out of time. Right? Question? I think one of the questions is like, who's the instructor in the course? Oh, I'm sorry. They are true, false, and multiple choice. Okay, that's what you meant, right? Yeah. So true, false, there'll be a statement. You have to say whether it's true or false. And then multiple choice, where you sort of complete a statement by selecting the right ending for it. Right. Okay. And they really are meant to be easy. Just remember what we said in class, read through this, and then you'll be set. So that's one thing to do, the initial quiz. The next thing to do, Assignment Unit 1A, I want you to skim the first 7 chapters in Computer Science and Overview and read Chapter 14 in Coding. Now, you may not have your book yet, but this assignment is due before Day 3. Now, when's Day 3? Well, this is 1, next time is 2, so 2 weeks from today. If the days don't make sense to you, then just look on the calendar. If you don't have your book yet, don't worry about it. You're going to skim it, and then in this message box, what you're going to do is you're going to type in the chapter titles. No, I won't loan you my book. So you'll look in the book, and you'll say, okay, chapter 0 is called Introduction. Oops. Just write that down. That's all you got to do. 0, Introduction. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, what did I say? Along with the title, Chapter 14, Encoding. So you look in there. That's all you have to do. Not a lot. I just want to make sure you actually have the book and you've opened it up.
I thought you prefer us to use Microsoft Word to submit.
I do when you need to submit a document. But in this case, I also want to make sure that you see there's a couple different ways to do things in Angel. There is a way that you can just copy and paste or just type in here. It's called a message box. So this one you will not upload anything. You just put it here. Other ones you won't be able to do this. You'll have to upload using Microsoft Office Word. Yeah. If you don't use Word, it's okay. Either change it to a Word data file, a docx, or change it to a PDF or an RTF. But if you use OpenOffice, don't use its native thing. If you're using a Mac like I do, don't submit a Pages document or something. I need a standard file there. Okay, good. So that's assignment Unit 1. Notice things are numbered kind of funny. If this is Unit 1, A, B, C, etc. Unit 1B, I want you right here to post an introduction. Tell us some things about yourself. This is a threaded discussion thread, so it's another kind of tool that we use in Angel. Okay? So you just have to figure it out, how do I post something here? Do you think it's this button that says New Post? Probably so. And then just tell me your name, your current position. Are you working? Are you a full-time student? Educational background, work experience, reason for, and a couple topics that interest you. This could be as long or as short as you like. Okay? You do that. It's 5 points. Do it before next time. Assignment Unit 1C. This is the hard one. This is the one I mentioned in the middle of last hour's discussion. Reference Chapter 0 and Figure 0.5. Of those 7 attributes of algorithms, which are more important to an information technology professional as opposed to a computer science professional? And explain why. Here, I want you to create a document, upload a Microsoft Word data file or something like that. Okay? You have to upload a data file. Although I didn't put an actual length, it should probably be a page in length or so. It can be longer, it could be a little shorter. This is due before next time. And if you don't have your book, what I have right here is that figure. Okay? It's a PDF file. It has the figure in it. It has the text both before and after it. But again, the text, Brookshire doesn't answer the question there. But sometimes people think, well, I bet there's a hidden answer there. Okay? So I have section 0.3 and 0.4 right here as a PDF. And there it is. So you can do it even without the text right now. The final assignment for the first day is I want you to investigate Java programming. Some of you may have programmed in Java before. Others of you don't even know what Java is. And that's okay. This is what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to, first of all, investigate Java programming using a couple different online tools. Specifically, a website called compileonline.com. What Compile Online allows you to do is to enter Java code right into your browser, and then it will tell you if it works or not and what it does. We'll actually look at this in the lab this evening, so you know what I'm talking about. I've got some things for you to do there. And then, after you've looked at that, I'm going to ask you to read Chapter 1 in the coding text. Chapter 1 is entitled, guess what? Java. Okay? Now, even if you're an experienced Java programmer, some of this is going to be new, different, and difficult to understand. So if you haven't programmed in Java before, many of this stuff is going to seem like a foreign language. Don't worry about it. I want you to begin the process of dealing with technologies. After you've experimented a little bit with Java, after you've read this chapter, then you'll find a quiz. So, okay. Sometimes people ask me, well, how am I going to know if I really went to that Compile Online site and did anything? I'm not going to know that. Could you not do it? Yeah. Then you're only hurting yourself, not me, right? If you do that and then read the chapter, I think the chapter will make much more sense. But the only thing I'm assessing you on is this quiz. Again, it's timed. 10 minutes. There are, I think, 7 questions. Let's look at the instructions here. Read chapter 1. After you've read the chapter, take the quiz. The quiz is open book. You can use your textbook. It's timed. 4 true, false, and 3 multiple choice questions. Don't give or receive help. Do your own work. But you can consult your text. So those are the 5 things. Initial quiz, A, B, C, and D assigned for today. Of those, you need to do the initial quiz. You need to post an introduction. You need to talk about algorithms in IT. And you need to do that quiz before next time. Okay. A reading thing, a couple weeks, because even if you have the book, you want to skim the chapters, and so it goes. Now, if you do all that and you're ready for more, you're saying, that was too easy. Well, I have posted the day 2 assignments. Okay? If you want to get ahead, you can't. No, you don't have to do that. I know. People are starting to panic. They're saying, oh, there's a lot of stuff here. Welcome to graduate school. Welcome to graduate school.
56 milestones.
56, is that all? Darn, I should have had more. Now, that does not mean there are 56 assignments. Okay? Milestones in Angel are many different things. This thing that says day 2, it's just a placeholder. That's a milestone. Okay? And then, like assignment unit 1D, I mean, there's only one thing to really do, but there's 3. The instructions are a milestone, and every unit. Pardon me?
I have 10 here.
Okay. Good. Is that all?
Like 5 per week?
Some weeks a little more, maybe. Some weeks a little less. And the other thing I'll say is the assignments are front-ended. There's more to do at the beginning of the class. As we get near the end of the class, there's less to do. And that's by design. Okay? So if this seems like a lot, hang in there. It will get a little bit better. As a matter of fact, the last day, there's no homework because we don't meet after that, right?
What was the exam?
There's a single exam in this class. There's a single exam that happens at the end. Now, there's a couple of quizzes, okay? But there's one exam that happens at the end. It is worth 50 points, somewhat significant, but compared to the total number of points in the class, which is like 350 or something like that, it's not a big deal. The exam will cover the high points of the course, the major things that you've either done as assignment or we've discussed in class. And yeah, we'll talk about that. But that will happen on the last day. Okay.
I don't know how to enter the quiz.
Okay. To enter the quiz, when I click on this, what you're going to do then is, see that button says begin now? You do that. Now, I'm not going to do it because then it's going to begin. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, I mean, I'm the instructor, and it gets a little upset when the instructor takes the quiz, etc. As soon as you click that, then you're going to see 7 questions. And there'll be a little radio button, true, false, or 4 choices. Click the right one. And you've got a full 10 minutes. At 9 minutes, a little warning will pop up, 1 minute left. Don't panic. And then if you're not done by 10 minutes, it'll just automatically submit it, and it'll be done. Okay? Okay. All right. Any questions right this minute, perhaps, about Angel or the kinds of things that you need to do for next time? those of you on campus, in our last hour this evening, we're going to go in the lab next door, and I'm going to have everybody connect to Angel just to make sure you can see it, you can access it, etc. And we're going to see how to log into our systems. I'm going to show you, compile online, etc. Okay? All right, good. A good thing to do when you're done is rather than just closing down the browser window, you should log off. And it's not obvious. But see these buttons on the left-hand side? This is the universal 1-0. Okay? Yeah. This is how you log off on Angel. Select that. Sever the connection. You should do a similar thing at the portal. You'll find a button up here that says Log Out. And then you're done with that. Okay? Cool. Never mind. We're going to have a little bit of discussion, but if you don't mind, I want to jump ahead and we'll localize all the discussion together, and then that way I don't have to record that. So let's just jump ahead a little bit here and finish up this specific discussion. Computer system components. A computer system is composed of three fundamental components at an abstract level. One is hardware. If I asked you to define hardware, I'm sure you could say something like the physical components which perform the processing or something similar, right? I use a lot of abbreviations. So you see this H/W. If I don't expand that, if you see an H/W, that just means hardware. And we know what hardware is, the physical components which perform the processing. But, question. Oh, okay, yeah. If you use that abbreviation for homework, that's okay, but I'm going to use it for hardware. Good point. Good point, yeah. I want us to think in terms of a system. It's one thing to just think about what that piece does individually, but what does hardware provide to a computer system? And here's the answer. Hardware provides the capabilities of the system. Let me explain what I mean. Hardware provides the capabilities of the system. The word means what's possible. Capability, possible. What's possible? Here's a simplistic example. Let's say I need my computer to produce sound. Will my computer produce sound? Answer, it would only produce sound if you have speakers of some type or another. Whether those speakers are inside an earbud or whether those are an external enclosure. If you have speakers, it's possible to generate sound. No speakers, no sound. Right, okay? Okay, that's kind of a silly example. Here's maybe a better example. The customer requires a 3D display. They want 3D technology. They're a chemical company. They're going to rotate molecules in 3 dimensions. So they want a 3-dimensional display. Okay? If you don't have a 3D monitor, are you going to be able to generate 3-dimensional displays? Nope. Right? If you don't have the right this is not a 3D display. Okay. I mean, this is a really nice plasma panel, but I specifically didn't want 3D. It's not 3D. If you don't have the little glasses or you don't have the special one that jiggles the thing all the time, are you going to see 3D? Nope. I don't care what your hardware is. I don't care what your software is or your app or your problem. The hardware determines what's possible. Okay. Second component of a computer system is software. And yeah, I abbreviate that too, S/W. What else could that stand for? I bet it could stand for a lot of other things, right? Software. If I asked you to define it, I'm sure you could talk about its instructions for the hardware, algorithms, etc., right? But I want us in IT to think as far as a system is concerned. Software provides the abilities of the system. Note that's a slightly different word. Software provides the abilities of the system. The word abilities means probable or likely. Abilities, what will this system probably or likely do? All right, for example, back to my first silly example about sound. Let's say you have a desktop computer system and you do have speakers. You have the speakers there. Now, will I hear sound? Only if I have the appropriate software. Right? I have the capability. It's possible. But is that likely to happen? If you have a Windows-based machine and you don't have Windows Media Player or Zune or iTunes, will you hear music? Likely not, right? Okay, exactly. Software determines the abilities. Back to our 3D example. Let's say I've got a 3D plasma panel here. Oh, it's 3D. Now, will I be watching a 3D movie? Only if I've got the appropriate disc, right? If you got Avatar in 2D, it's not going to be 3D, is it? Exactly. And if we know hardware and software have to work together. Hardware, base level capabilities, what's possible. Software, the abilities, putting that possibility into actual use. Oh, ignore this for now. I'm sorry. That shouldn't be there. Ignore that. Okay, good. We can look at the Dilbert. Dogbert tech support. Your software is worn out. You must be typing too hard. Switch to decaf, paint your walls pink, stop going to the gym. I've never heard of holistic tech support. Maybe you should read more. Well, of course, there's no such thing. But you should read more. You should read the news. Sure. All right. There's a third component. So we've got hardware, we've got software. Those are the obvious ones. The third component, and this is the important one for us, people. Again, I started off this evening talking about the technology program with a soul, the importance of people in this. I don't know why, but the highest form of God's creation is oftentimes overlooked in this study of information technology. I've seen a lot of classes, I've talked to a lot of instructors, I've read a lot of books, and a number of them ignore the people part of a computer system. For us, people can play lots of different roles. We can interact with people who are users. We ourselves are oftentimes users of technology. We can interact with people who are programmers. We ourselves can sometimes be programmers. As a matter of fact, you're going to experiment a little bit with programming in Java. We're going to be IT professionals, and we've already talked about computer scientists. There are a number of roles that people play. And notice these aren't all mutually exclusive. A person who's a programmer might also be an IT professional. Or an IT professional could be a user, or as so it goes. Right? These are just roles that people play at different times. Right? People provide something to the system that today, in 2014, hardware and software by itself can't provide. And that's intelligence. People provide the intelligence of the system. And that's in all those roles, as user, as programmer, as IT professional, as computer scientist. People provide the intelligence of the system. You know, there's an interesting verse at the very beginning of the biblical text in the book of Genesis. What's recorded is God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. This word image is kind of an interesting word. The word image in this context does not mean physical appearance. When the biblical text talks about image, this is not saying that people look like God. God the Father is a spirit, has no physical appearance. So image here doesn't mean looks like God. Image means attributes or characteristics. So it's not like this. Yes, man was created in God's image, regardless of what we see here. You or I at 6 in the morning. Yeah, that's a pretty scary sight. Image actually refers to characteristics. And the reason that human beings are intelligent is because we were created by a superintelligence. We're going to see in this class that there are two fundamental aspects of this image of God. One is intelligence. I'll tell you right now, the other is creativity. That we employ all the time as IT professionals. So people, we've got a pretty important job to do in IT, right? I guess what I'm saying is this. No definition of IT is complete without focusing on people. All right. Here's a news story. I want to discuss this also, but again, let's coagulate all those together. Okay. You know what? Yeah. No, not going to do that. Sorry. I got a couple things sort of out of order. That's my fault. Yeah, we're going to do face detection later. Yeah. Okay. Imagine, just do this thought experiment with me. Don't answer out loud. But I just want you to begin thinking about this. Imagine, for whatever reason, somebody in your organization came up and said, hey, I need to capture this web page. And I need to email it to somebody else. I need to store it off for all eternity. I need to capture this web page. How do I do that? There are potentially many different ways. The proper way depends on a lot of factors. Why, what, etc. Okay? As a matter of fact, I am going to ask you to think about this. Seems like a pretty silly or simple problem, but it's not. This is actually going to be an assignment I'll give you next week. So if you want to think ahead, you can think about, if I wanted to save and potentially email a web page, how would I do that? Soft copy. Good question. Soft copy. Okay, don't answer out loud. That's good to be thinking. Okay? Passwords are always in the news, aren't they? Recently, several high-profile breaches of security. Target is well known because they came forward and said this happened to us. There have been a number of other ones, likely more extensive, but the retailers have not voluntarily come forward and said this has happened. So we can pick on Target, a large retailer here in the United States, but this happens to lots of different folks. When there is a breach like this and the bad guys get usernames and passwords, and usually what they'll do is they'll open that up. They'll just post it on a site somewhere for everybody to see, and then it's a free-for-all. You go there, and hopefully you get to somebody's account before they've changed it. No, not hopefully. Hopefully people have changed the account before you get there. But when you analyze these things, and this has been done, we discover some interesting things. What's the most common password, you think? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Password 111. Exactly. About 20% of all passwords are really simple things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The word password 1, 1, 1, 1 or similar. Okay. Okay. Yeah, something that's that's right in a row there. Exactly. Okay. Now, as an IT professional, we want our users to use secure passwords. Why don't users use really hard and secure passwords? Why do people continue to set up an account and call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Easy to remember. Exactly. And of course, if you have 47 sites and you want 47 That's hard, right? A different one for each one and a secure one for each one?
I prefer to use one password for everything, but it's really hard.
Yeah. Okay, one really hard. Okay, good. That's better than one really easy one. Of course, you know the disadvantage of that, right? If that one is compromised, then they know everything. Yeah, exactly. Here's something to think about, future IT professionals. How could we make it see, the problem is we tell our users, use a strong password, but they don't. Why? It's hard. How do we make it easier for them? We'd want them to use a good, strong, secure password. They only do that if it's easy. Yeah. One possibility, and something you would talk about in the data security class, is rather than something you can remember, something that you are, a physical characteristic, a fingerprint, a retina scan, a voice print, etc. Right? So, you know, today that's why we saw that one news article, right? Android phones wanting a thumbprint thing like the latest iPhones have, etc. It's easier to remember your thumbprint because you don't have to remember it. It's just you. Yeah, you have it with you all the time. Again, one of the assignments for you this week is to read Chapter 1. And even if you've programmed before, and even if you've programmed in Java before, you'll likely find new stuff and difficult to understand things. If you haven't programmed before, if you haven't programmed in Java before, then this is going to be even harder. So don't let that bother you. Read through it, pick out what you can, and then take the quiz. The quiz is only 7 questions. I've tried to focus on what I consider to be some bigger issues there. Okay? But give that a shot. And I'm going to encourage you to experiment with Java even on your own. I mean, this isn't a formal assignment, but I've given you some references online. You've got this nice tool in Compile Online. You've got a reference book, and there are many other things. Experimenting some with Java will just solidify some IT knowledge for you. Okay? Now, on campus, folks, we're going to begin each day. We didn't do this today, but beginning next time, we're going to begin with a little tiny quiz on a piece of paper that I'm going to hand to you. I'm going to hand you that piece of paper at 5:59, and you will then have 90 seconds after 6 o'clock until 6:01:30 to answer the question and give it to me. Now, the quiz is going to be pretty easy and straightforward. For example, we talked about a couple different things today. One of the things we talked about was the grand ideas of computer science. If I asked you a question about one of the grand ideas in a straightforward fashion, in other words, if I asked you to, I don't know, define an algorithm, could you do that in just a sentence, a straightforward sentence? Sure you could, right? Okay. Yeah, don't you have to tell me the answer right now. Yeah, okay. Yeah. See? Yeah, you could do that, right? That's not too hard. Why am I doing this? Well, first of all, and I haven't had a problem. You were all here on time. Thank you very much. Every once in a while, I have trouble getting people here on time, so this is just a reminder to be here on time. If you're 10 minutes late, you don't get to take the quiz. Now, the quiz, they're worth 5 points. Again, not a big deal. I will allow you to throw away your lowest quiz score. So if you missed one or you just bombed one, it won't count against you. Okay? But they're really straightforward things. They're also just a way for us to begin thinking about IT right away. Okay? So at 5:59 next Thursday evening, for those of you on campus, I'm going to give you a little piece of paper. You'll have until 90 seconds after 6 o'clock to answer it. It'll only take you 30 seconds to answer it, truly. Okay. Just so you know that's coming, and be ready for it. A question that most students have, and you probably wouldn't want to answer out loud, ask out loud, how do I get a good grade in this class? Students, C-. Do you know how long it took me to find and download this term paper? You know the answer. Effort. The more time that you put into it, the better it will be. Being a graduate student requires a lot of time, even more time than your undergraduate studies. There's just more material. We expect you to master it. It's just going to require time. It's an investment on your part. So the more time you put in, the better it's going to be. Absolutely. Okay? All right. On-campus folks, we're going to take a break in just a minute. For those of you listening at it, oh, yeah, maybe I will. I'll try to capture what I'm doing in the lab, at least a little bit of that later on, so you can see that also.